Hi, my name is Gilbert Santos. I'll be giving a presentation on a beloved movie from my childhood, Kiki's Delivery Service. In this presentation, I'll be going over plot summary, characters, and 6 communication elements. Those elements are verbal messages, nonverbal communication, culture, listening, interpersonal relationship, and interpersonal conflict. Lastly, I'll talk about the communication process through my perspective. Kiki's Delivery Service is a magical, coming-of-age tale of a young witch named Kiki traveling with her familiar named Gigi as she completes her witch training. She then settles at a coastal city of Koriko. She uses her powers to land a job as a witch delivery service, as Kiki will soon find out that growing up to adulthood is very difficult and understanding life concepts at a young age. A list of main characters are Kiki, a young 13-year-old witch in training. She is the main character of the movie. As the movie progresses, she learns about friendship, responsibilities, and life lessons. Gigi is Kiki's best friend. He is a black familiar cat. He travels along with Kiki to watch over her. Tombo is an awkward teenager who loves science and flying. He is currently working on his bike to turn it into a flying machine. He is fascinated by Kiki the first time he sees her. Osano is a pregnant wife of a baker. She befriends Kiki and gives her a place to stay for her witch training. Kiki sees her as a mother figure. Ursula is an artist who lives in the forest among the crows. She loves to draw and paint. She becomes friends with Kiki after a fateful encounter. The first communication element I want to talk about is verbal messages. Verbal message is a set of words or sentences to convey feelings on a certain subject. In this scene, we see Tombo and Kiki talking. Tombo asks Kiki how it felt the first time she flew. Kiki doesn't recall, but her mom said she was not scared one bit. This is an example of verbal message. Tombo is asking Kiki about her childhood, and Kiki answered. The next element I want to talk about is nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is messages that are conveyed by body language, tone of voice, and touch. In this scene, we see Tombo and Kiki falling from great heights. By their expressions, you can tell they are scared for their lives. The body language of Kiki shows that she is scared. She is gripping the seat of the bike for dear life. Tombo is screaming and looking down for a place to land. The next slide I want to talk about is culture. Culture is characteristic attitudes, rules, and expected behaviors of a particular society. In this scene, Kiki is commenting to her mother about the way she has to dress. Kiki thinks that lilac would make her more pretty. Her mother told Kiki that it's an old witch tradition to dress in black clothing on the day they embark on their training. The next communication element is listening. Listening is a key element in the communication process. It requires the focus and attention of the receiver. In this scene, Ursula is talking to Kiki. Kiki told Ursula that she never had to think about flying, that flying came natural to her. But Ursula said, "We each need to find our own inspiration, Kiki. Sometimes it's not easy." This scene is displaying empathetic listening. Ursula was in Kiki's shoes before. She lost her drive and passion to draw one day. Then she found inspiration, and she was able to draw again. Ursula advised Kiki to look deep in herself to find that passion that inspires her to fly once again. The next element I would like to talk about is interpersonal relationships. Interpersonal relationships are interdependent. This means that each person in the relationship depends on the other in some way, that the action of the affect the other in the relationship. In this scene, we see Tombo talking to Kiki. Kiki is ignoring him because Tombo is being rude and hadn't introduced himself to her. Kiki is keeping her distance and privacy to herself. This is a sign of closed dialect. Closed dialect is on a spectrum of open and closed. The spectrum shows how open feelings, memories, and emotions are communicated to the receiver. The next slide I would like to talk about is interpersonal conflict. Interpersonal conflict is a disagreement between two people who perceive their goals as incompatible. In this scene, Kiki wants to use the broomstick she made for the special night. Her mother wants her to use the broom because it is more reliable. They argue until they came to an agreement. The management style that they use is accommodating. Kiki doesn't get to use her broom that she made, but has to use her mother's old reliable broom. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the communication process through my perspective. My time learning about communication made me realize that communication is more complex than it is. There is a sender, a receiver, a channel, and sometimes barriers. There are verbal and nonverbal barriers like background noise, language, and culture. These barriers may lead to misunderstandings, which can cause conflicts. Those conflicts can be solved through different conflict management styles like compromising, collaboration, avoidance, and accommodating. With everything I learned from this class, I can say it made me a better person when it comes to communication. Thank you for